If your marriage were to end, would your life go on? Or is that an indispensable thing? If your children died, would your life go on? Or is that an indispensable thing? And what does it say of you if everything is dispensable?
There was one short passage here that I don't know whether you might read. It just is very relevant.
This, by the way, was like literally perhaps the last paragraph that was written in the book. Their inner lives were overwhelmed by all of the living, not only in terms of the time and energy required by a family of 5, but which muscles were forced to grow and which withered. Julia's unwavering composure with the children had grown to resemble, see, this is a word that I made up and I don't even know how it would be pronounced, omnipotence, omnipatience. Julia could clip newborn fingernails with her teeth and breastfeed while making a lasagna, and remove splinters without tweezers or pain, and have the kids begging for the lice comb, and compel sleep with a forehead massage, but she'd forgotten how to touch her husband. Jacob taught the kids the difference between farther and further, but no longer knew how to talk to his wife. This is probably the last paragraph that I wrote. I kept wanting to return to the scene of the crime, and the scene of the crime in the book isn't this earthquake in Israel, and it's not the ensuing war, and it's not the infidelity that's committed that precipitates a lot of these conversations. It's this really mysterious withdrawal. You know, these two people withdraw from one another over time, not because either of them is bad, not because either of them was wronged, but because they did. There's a temptation to see everything as that's depressing, or that's inspiring, or that's the right way to be, or that's the wrong way to be, or we are in love or we are not in love, as opposed to a more nuanced way of looking at family life. That nuanced way of looking at family life is what Jacob really wrestles with. So Jacob is the hero in the sense that he takes up the most space in the book. He's married to Julia, who's an architect, but who had, great ambitions of building museums and war memorials, and instead does kitchen and bathroom renovations, and who's really just too good for her surroundings and knows it, and everybody knows it. They have 3 children: Sam, who is 13, who's about to have his bar mitzvah; Max, who's 10, who is a kind of budding existentialist, or budding artist maybe; and Benji, who is 6 or 7, who's just a kid coming into language and coming into thought, coming into emotions. So here I am as an expression that comes up a few times in the Old Testament. The most important use is in the story of the binding of Isaac. So that story begins with the sentence, and then God put Abraham to the test. He said, Abraham. Abraham said, here I am. And then God says, I need you to sacrifice your beloved son. And so some people interpret that as the test wasn't actually to sacrifice his son. The test was how he would respond to his name. One can say, what is it? One can say, I'll be there in a minute. Abraham responded, here I am. And that's really problematic for Jacob. He doesn't know how to reconcile his needs and the needs of others, or the needs of his children with the needs of his wife.
So if I were to ask you to describe the book in one line, a sentence with a lot of semicolons.
It's a book about people striving to be ready.